Hey.
Hey, doing good.
All the stuff going on, we feel
All
blessed.
is well.
All is well. Yep,
Yeah,
all is
yeah.
well. Yeah, it's springtime. I'm looking forward to a lot of different things, getting ready to get into you know, even planning for us next season, you know what I mean? And, I'm hopefully we can plan to get together and, before the end of the summer, you know what I mean? Something where
Okay.
you know, we just have some downtime and some fun time. You know what I mean? So I'm looking into that, and that's kind of the reason why I wanted this episode. I don't know if I said it or who said it, but I'm actually going on a girls trip the end of the month, and I'm going to Jamaica. And I haven't done that in years, y'all. I'm gonna be honest. I would like to go on a girls trip with y'all too, and we can, you know, kind of plan it, or probably let Chauncey plan it, because Chauncey know all them ins and outs on with this airline and that airline and so on and so on. But I think that would be a good idea. But I think it goes to the core of why do we have girls trips? You know what I mean? Um, I'm gonna say, like I said, this is a new thing for me because I felt like when I lived down south, and Keisha and Celeste, um, I lived down there with y'all for many, many years, you know what I mean? But I felt like I was always in a rat race, you know what I mean? Just, I never had a lot of time to do girl things. You see what I'm saying? Um, and I kind of resented that, you know what I mean? Because I felt like I lost a lot of time not bonding, but just existing, you know. So now that I live back where, I was born and raised, I've reconnected with a lot of people that I grew up with, you know what I mean? I mean, even Chauncey, I hadn't seen Chauncey in years, you know what I mean? Um, but I get to do different things because I think I'm on another spectrum in my life where I make it a concerted effort to do things now, you know, and not just children things because my kids are grown. I don't take my hands off my kids, but I do compartmentalize that they have their lives and I have my life. You know what I mean? So I need to do things that I like to do. You know what I mean? Especially with my husband and my friends and so on and so on. So I think this is just me speaking that because I'm at this more seasoned age, that I think that it is essential to do a girls trip. That's my thought because it kind of takes you away from the everyday rat race or run of the mill and help you to reconnect with what's important, especially when it's bonded with girls. I don't think I would feel that way when I was younger. You know what I mean? Because I think that when I was younger, I was of course, a wife and a mother, and that is a lot of time consuming things. Not that it's not time consuming now, but it's a lot of time consuming things that I needed to do. Right now, I don't need to do nothing that I don't have to do. You know what I mean? Honestly, I don't. I don't need to do nothing I don't have to do. And that's where it's different. So, what do y'all think about girls' trips? And is it necessary or essential, or is it just not just a bunch of crap that you don't think that nobody should even care about? That's just throwing it out
I
there.
think a girls I think girls trips are necessary. I think it's a time where you just laugh, when you don't have that
Yeah.
responsibility, when you can rejuvenate yourself.
Yeah.
And like you, younger, because I was raising a family, you couldn't do that because your priorities may be different. I mean, I notice young people now are doing it. And I was like, wow, should have been thinking like them.
Yeah.
But my priority was different. Where I was spending my money was different according to their sports and their this and their that. And
Mhm.
so it wasn't that time. And then the time that I was off, it was family trips. So now, like you, that I'm in this different age, I find it very, very necessary to have some time to reconnect with girlfriends and to do just to do some fun things because it is necessary. And sometimes you just want to just talk and just laugh and just not be responsible.
That's
Yeah.
what I'm saying, Keisha. Who's next?
For me, I don't think that it's a situation where they're unnecessary or a bunch of crap. I don't even think that correlates to a girl trip, right?
Mhm.
I think that you make that decision based on who you want to travel with
Mm-hmm.
and how you want to travel with them. I think I agree with you both where you say that it would be easier now because we're more established. Our finances were going somewhere else when we were younger. We had different types of responsibilities. But I think it also depends on what you're going through in your life.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I've always had women in my life. I've always had female friends that were in my life, but not on a constant basis because I always seem to get along better with men growing up. Maybe because I was the only girl growing up and growing up with brothers and cousins and things of that nature. But I know when I got divorced many years ago, female friendships are what got me through. Not in a way that they were negative, just in a way that, we understood what we were going through. I was 40, I was going through some things. And I had some sister friends who were older than I was, and I had some in the same age group, but they were just so important to me at that time. And so I really clung to them and I really needed them. And so I was able to have a few trips or whatever. And I don't think, other than maybe taking a trip with a single friend or maybe two, before that, prior to that, is all that I ever did. So I never did like this big girls trip until a couple of years back. And I did it with, my sister friends and my sister-in-law and my best friend and my sisters. And we went and we had a great time and we had fun. We went to Nashville, and who knew that they were the Vegas of the South? I'm just letting y'all know. And so it was a lot of fun. However, I do feel like when I have them, I happen to be married to a person now who's not so keen on them. He gets a little nervous
Mhm.
if I mention, that I'm having that trip. And so it's kind of like, oh, does he go? Doesn't he go? Well, it's not a girls trip if you go.
Right.
It's not for you. And so, but you have to take that into consideration because depending what other people have experienced when they've been with someone else and they've gone on girls trip, because I've seen them and they get pretty wild. They ain't the kind of girls trip I want. But my fun, it might be different than what the next person's fun is. So yeah, I think they're important. I think just having time with each other is important. And so sometimes you get to do that in a different scenery and sometimes you don't.
Mhm. Celeste?
For me, having girls' trips are very important. I was fortunate enough to come into a community when I first moved down here,
Mhm.
where there were three other that lived in the community, same children around the same age, all married. Because at that point, I was only having friends that were married. Like that was the cool way to stay out of trouble, right? So we all kind of took time to go together and nurture our relationship, because when we came back to the community, we raised these kids as a community. So
Mhm.
it's important. They say you don't know anybody till you live with them. Well, I didn't want to live with them, but going on the trip
Right.
was the closest thing to doing that. And it was safe because I felt like I was choosing people that had the same standards, the same morals, the same, that's important, because I don't
That's
want to
true.
go
That's true.
unalive like some of these people when they go and nobody has your back, because they're doing things that's inappropriate and I'm stuck in the middle of it. So it's important, start off small with your community of, I say community because that's what friends are. Because any one of my children, I know y'all would come and grab them up, y'all feed them, that's your community, that's your
Right, that's
girlfriends.
right. That's right.
Yeah, a porch, but in person, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's important to work on that relationship, because you're gonna that same person might be the person that's really, like, we all loved on me when I was going through my traumas, my situations just recently, traumatic situations. You might find yourself giving more than you've ever gotten, but when that's your friend and you've been nurturing a relationship, it doesn't feel the same.
You
It
got
feels like you're showing up,
Mhm.
And Kim, for the record, we're going to that spa because you mentioned it last year. So
That's what
Don't
I'm
Oh,
forget.
yes,
that's what I'm gonna arrange because
yes, and I want to go.
when I
Mhm.
tell you guys, when I went with my sister girl, Tracy, like she had told me about it, right? But she had never been. And when I tell you, we had the best time, and we only stayed overnight. And we went to an Italian restaurant, like I thought it was like the best Italian food. And I'm not an Italian food eater at all because I have these issues with red sauce and things like that. But oh my God, it was the best time. And you know what? It just goes to what you say. I think that a girls' trip is important because you get to see who is really your friend. I mean, really, not just the encounter of us going out, but you get to see little messaging and subliminal messages that
Mhm.
helps you to either kind of say, I'm going to reinforce this relationship, or maybe I need to categorize this person that maybe just be
Mhm.
that associate. You know what I mean? I'm just keeping it real because it's not always flowers and glam. Like you said, Celeste, too. Like we see these younger people going to on these trips and stuff like that, and then somebody ends up killed and something terrible happens, or somebody gets violated or something horrible happens, and
Mhm.
your sister girls are there and they did nothing or help the situation. You know what I mean? So I think, we don't want to see that drastic of an extreme, happen to anybody. But I guess it gets to help that things that you might have thought was going on, it kind of reinforces it. You know what I mean? I'm just
Mhm.
being honest with you, because everybody's not gonna be your friend. Like I can look at y'all and say, yeah, we're sisters. You know what I mean? We get to see the trials and tribulations and the good times too, that everybody is experiencing. But I don't have to feel fearful that if I go to another country with you, that y'all gonna just scatter off somewhere and something could happen. You know what I mean? Or
Mhm.
Oh, no.
you
Mm-mm.
intentionally doing something to see something happen to me. You know what I mean? But let's keep it real because that's happening to people right now.
Yeah, but that's not a friend. You're just going with people that you associated with, or maybe your person
Mhm.
that you know is associated with. So in that situation, that's not a friend. I'm talking about people that you know, that
Yeah.
you know, that you know, and they are like-minded like you. Then things like that won't happen.
Mhm.
But do you not
And
think that a
and
lot of
again,
girls trips that are going on there right now, a lot of girls trips going on right now, people bring other people. You know what I mean? That you
Right,
be
because
I
again,
be
you have
friends with Keisha, and Keisha, you bring Lucy. You know what I mean? And Lucy don't really like Chauncey. You know what I mean? But she's never said nothing
yeah,
to you about it. You know what I mean? But it's easy to get into that kind of,
well, that's true.
yeah. You see what I'm saying? It's a girls trip.
Yeah.
Like I'm not paying for everybody to go on that girl trip, but so on and so on is coming because I like her. Y'all gonna like her too. You know what I mean? But that's not always the case. You see what I'm
well, and
saying?
I like what Celeste said about starting out small, you know what I
Mhm.
mean?
Yeah,
And doing something. Kimmy just said she went to a spa, but they just stayed overnight. So it wasn't this
overnight.
week-long trip. It wasn't this,
Mhm.
but it it puts you in a situation, like you said, to know like-minded people. Because I have known of women that have gone on trips, and then now you're leaving your husband and your kids back home, but then now you got a little friend on your trip. Well, don't nobody that you got this little friend on your trip because you don't that's how stuff happens. And then
Yeah.
now you have to explain what
Oh,
happened, or then now
friend.
uh,
You need to do that at another time. Yeah, that's
Don't
what you
don't
need to
don't
do.
tell
but
nobody
some of
about
them
that. Don't tell nobody that. I mean,
listen,
really, because that's how it
no,
goes to
but a lot
the
of them do
ugliness.
that.
Yeah.
Yes, but a lot of them do that. And then now you are,
An
what's the word
accomplice.
for it? An accomplice on
An
this mission
accomplice. You gonna get it.
without even knowing it. So that's
Right.
why I said there are some, depending on who you have in your life, some people are a little apprehensive because they've heard of things, or they know how guys do when guys go on
Mhm.
guys trip. Now they just automatically assume that that's what goes on girls trips. So when you have all of those factors, and then kind of like, okay, well, what are you doing? Where are you going? It's like, okay, well, I don't know. We're just gonna play it by ear. We're just gonna have some fun and do whatever. So
So
I
don't
start
you
out
think
small.
too, compared to what you said, Chauncey, sorry to interrupt. Don't you think too that kind of like if you do that and you have your significant other questioning you now, because guess what? You'd have came home. I'm gonna say this because I heard Chauncey say this before, bed talk, talking about what did happen on the trip, and you take it, innocently and be like, well, Kimmy was over there acting up and she had on this see-through so on, so on, so
Right.
on. You know what I mean? Jokingly. You see what I'm saying? Telling your spouse while your spouse is going ding, 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 ding. What the
Exactly. Now they don't want you to go
Now,
with that.
do you tell everything that goes on a girl trip?
That's the
Oh,
point,
said,
Keisha.
he
Do
said,
you?
we had a ball. We had a great time.
Some people do.
And we saw this and we saw that.
Oh, you said,
And we did this as far as
oh,
that show, and we went to the pool, and that's about it. You keep it all general.
I was lucky.
And we had dinner.
I was
Huh?
I said I was lucky. I'm thinking about one incident. I don't know what happened. It was just a rough month. And a girlfriend of mine called on the phone and she was like, what you doing next Friday? And I said, nothing. She said, all right, we're going to Vegas. I'm paying for it. You pay me back when we come back. Literally, me and the other three ladies was like, what? And the guys were on the porch with the babies like this. What happened? I didn't see this coming. Why y'all only? One of us was in need. We needed some help. We needed to get away and we needed to work on it because together we were going to suffer if this person fell in this community that we had built. And the guys just have to understand. If you trust me as a person, you just need to trust that I'm at this.
I like that because y'all have established that camaraderie together that you know that what we doing is innocent. But when it turns
Right.
into other people have ulterior motives,
Gotta go to get no new stuff. There's something that right down the block over here in the corner. I can do that. I'm going to Walmart and come on back.
No, I'm going out of town.
Well, I mean, we say that, right? But that they don't believe that. They got to believe it's something greater that's happening or that's at work. But I think that that makes a big difference because, Keisha, I've said before, if it don't affect here, I don't need to share it with you. You know what I mean? But if it affects here, then I'm going to share it with you. But I'll keep what you share with me. I don't put that in pillow talk or, some general things I might share, but I never share, anything else. But, with that being the case, like I said, it just depends on who you're with because some of the significant others understand and some of them do not. And they want to know, they want to see, and they're curious. And, any other time you posted on Facebook, but you ain't post on Facebook for this one.
I know I'm over talking, but that might be because the men, do they have men's trips?
They do. Oh yeah.
They do? No, I'm not talking about going
my husband used to have men trips like when we first got married, it was actually like a boys club he had. And this is a perfect example. I hope he don't get mad at me, but he don't really care. But they used to go every during the football season, they were playing different places to go see games and stuff like that. But what happened was, it was like a group of 8 people, and some are family members and some are just friends. But it broke up because, one person did something that violated the other ones, and people started to take sides, and then, you know, it fell apart. That's the bottom line. It fell apart. And I used to feel sad for him because I know he enjoyed it so much. He used to even take my father-in-law when my father-in-law was living, and they used to take him, and he was disabled, but they knew that he enjoyed just going on a trip, and just 2 people end up doing something where I said bed talk, talking about somebody else, and it wasn't had nothing to do with the trip, but it ended up the whole group just disbanded because of 2 people. You know what I mean? And that's easy to happen because somebody feel like they're gonna take sides. And let me tell you about my husband. He ain't taking nobody's side because he don't really care. You know what I mean? Keith is probably the most easiest going person you ever want to meet. He don't care about stuff. He don't gossip. He don't care about none of that kind of stuff. So when it fell apart, I could see that he was kind of discouraged by it. And I wish that that's why I always wish for my husband to, make friends up here because he's not from here. You know what I mean? And if he want to do something, I'm not going to ask because he never asks anything about what I do with my friends up here. But to what you said, Chauncey, I think if you give somebody a reason to doubt you, they will doubt you. You know what I mean? They will
Mhm.
doubt you. And most of the time, I know your husband, you know what I mean? And he knows all your friends and things like that. I think that it's the people, friends that cause, the problems. I'm just keeping it real. Because anytime I've
I
ever ran
agree.
into a problem, it's because somebody else was going over there, putting their spin on something and causing the problem. You know what I mean? So I think that again, if you kind of keep it small, quaint, you know
Right.
what I mean? Intimate
Mhm.
friends that have a history with each other. No, I don't want you to bring little Meek and Shock with us because maybe that'll be a larger trip. And we going on a cruise, and I don't really have to care what you're doing. You know what I mean? But when we go on our little girls trip, that we like blood in, like you say, Chauncey, and we got each other's back to the buck to the ground. You know what I mean? And I think that's what a girls trip is. So, but great episode. Final thoughts. Girls trips. Because we're gonna have our girls trip where we're gonna have lots of pictures.
It's
I
I can't
necessary.
I can't imagine life without having girls trips. I've always had them. And I think it's important to nurture those relationships because sometimes, not marriage, but sometimes when you're dating, the guys are in and out, you don't have anything steady in that relationship with your girlfriend.
Hmm.
It's done right, it's forever.
It
It's
is
blood in, blood out.
blood
love
in,
that.
blood out.
Yeah.
Because
It's
Yeah.
I think that life be lifing. And
Like
so
it.
whatever brings you joy. And if that's a girl's trip, then do it.
Mhm.
And so now as long as you ain't girl tripping more than you tripping with your with your significant other, then I think you're gonna be all right.
Yeah, because
Has to
that's gonna
be
be
a
a
balance.
problem. Mhm.
Yeah, it has to be a balance with everything. So yeah, no, I think we need them. I think because life be life and we need our girls trips.
Mhm. Keisha?
I think it's very necessary, and I think it it just creates just a greater bond, and it produces oxytocin. So
I
yeah,
know now she gonna
yeah,
get biochemical on us. All right, oxytocin.
yeah, yeah. So it's good.
All right. Okay. Great episode. Okay. So joining us tonight is
It's
Renee.
your girl Celeste. And remember that any relationship worth having is worth nurturing.
Absolutely.
And this is your girl Chauncey. Whatever brings you joy, continue to do it.
This is your girl Keisha, growing and learning in her own lane.
All right now. And I'm your girl Kimmy. So join us next Wednesday when we drop a new episode. Have a wonderful week on purpose and take care.